You too, man. We just gonna jump straight into this one. We got the exact moment David turned into a monster by Hella You Saying Extras.
What's
man, let's check
poppin',
it
y'all?
out.
Old interviews are starting to
bro.
resurface of David, and we're finally getting the moment. I've put a couple of pieces together where he became a full-on monster. Now, this interview was conducted days after he had allegedly murdered Celeste Rivas and stabbed her to death. And this was done on the Zach Sanger Show, which is a platform that interviews a lot of pop artists, a lot of songwriters, things like that.
When did you decide to say, okay, I'm not going to be a professional gamer, let me pursue music full-time?
That moment happened the day I made Romantic Homicide, I think. Because right after the Fortnite stuff was going on, I moved to TikTok and started doing the covers, because I started out as the meme thing. And then I made Romantic Homicide, and it was so different than everything else I had made because it was actually sad. It was slow, it was sad, it was emotional, it had weight to it. Most of my other songs, like Take Me to the Sun and The Dirty Secrets, before that, and You and I, they're all like these indie up-tempo records that you could just like do whatever to. And I played it for my mom. And whenever my mom hates something, I know it's cool. Like when I used to get up and get dressed for school in the morning, I put on this cool fit. She would like, take that off, put on a suit or something like that, you know? I knew it was cool if she hated it. I played it for her in the car. And she was like, David, this song is too violent. You talking about killing people in your music? No, not my son. And I was like, wait, I might be onto something, bro. So I dropped it right after that. And it went crazy. TikTok, viral, 1 million views overnight. I was like, oh, yeah, we cooking, boy. We cooking, boy. So right at that moment, I was like, my mom has done it again. Because if she said, because I was already skeptical about the song when I made it. Like, I was like, okay, maybe it's just too dark. I don't know what I'm doing. I held on to it.
Was y'all a fan of that song? That song specifically, I wasn't really a big fan of that song.
That was my cue.
I won't lie, I did like a few of his songs, bro. So it sucks that he had to be the type of person because all them songs are off my playlist now. Not supporting no music no more. But I'm not gonna act like I didn't, bro. I had a few songs that I like.
Go do it.
I'm not gonna act like I didn't.
It was just like it was history, man.
So clearly, we heard that he was originally just a Fortnite kid as a gamer, and then the moment, and he was already dabbling in music, but the moment he made a Romantic Homicide is when he first made that switch. Now, keep in mind, Romantic Homicide released in 2022. He had not yet met up with Celeste. He met Celeste in January of 2022 online, but they wouldn't meet until late 2023 when his music career had already taken off and Romantic Homicide had been released. So if he had just stayed as a Fortnite gamer, as a Fortnite pro, as a Fortnite content creator, he likely wouldn't have left his neighborhood or his city. If he did, he would have been in the Fortnite scene, and it's unlikely that he would have had the resources to get into a relationship, or what he believed was a relationship.
Should have known he was weird when he was doing this stuff with his fingernails, bro.
Resource.
Not only the black paint, but with the color inside it too.
Relationship.
Yeah, he should have known he was weird.
Or what he believed was a relationship with Celeste, and then it eventually turned into where he's threatening to, she's threatening to expose him, and then he ends up killing her. But a very interesting comment here that was made is that his mother probably tried to do everything she could to prevent him from turning into this monster. In that interview clip, he's referencing that his mom really did not like it. She told him not to release that song. And he's like, oh, I knew I had something here. And also, he goes into detail a bit later in the same interview about his experience of being homeschooled.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is... Were you sad at the time?
I don't think his mom not liking the song would have stopped him from being as bad as a person. Like, I don't think she knew who he was going to become just off of that song. You know what I mean? I don't think that
making it.
I mean, dude, homeschooling really takes a toll on a kid. Like,
I didn't know he was homeschooled, though.
Yeah, and there's outlets, like, I know I made a couple friends now that were homeschooled, but they had, like, these groups that they would go to, like, bi-weekly and just to socialize. But I didn't have that. Like, there was no...
Oh, that's why you're
extracurricular
weird.
activities I was involved in. It was just me at home playing Fortnite, getting schoolwork done, learning how to code and build computers for 4 years. 4 years. Crazy. So, yeah, man, Romantic Homicide was just like, I wanted to feel what the other kids were feeling. Like, everybody I knew, well, in middle school that I didn't talk to anymore, everybody had relationships. I didn't have a relationship. I wanted to do that. I wanted to be involved in this or have a heartbreak for myself. So I kind of just like made up these scenarios of myself getting heartbroken and being in love and stuff like that. And I would write songs about things that never happened. And that would just become my life.
Storytelling.
Now it's all happening.
4 years, man.
So he's talking about being homeschooled. He's talking about romantic homicide
storytelling.
being a complete just LARP. Like he doesn't have any experiences. And keep in mind, this is a very important point. He's talking about he got pulled out of regular school in middle school, and then for 4 years of high school, he's homeschooled. And he's just building computers, playing Fortnite, this and that. His parents or his mom pulled him out to put him in homeschool for a reason. A lot of homeschool kids, they usually get homeschooled from the beginning. It's a planned thing. Oh, okay, we're going to homeschool our kid. And then a lot of them,
Yeah, why did he get pulled out?
Kids, when it comes time for high school,
Why did he get
they
pulled
get
out?
sent out. And they get brought into high school, but they were homeschooled elementary and middle school. But it's very unlikely and uncommon that they go to elementary school, they go to middle school, and then they get pulled out for high school, unless they have behavioral problems, unless they have bullying problems.
This is a game I
But
need
it
to
didn't
get real
seem
quick.
like that, or at least a bullying problem with David, because he would have spoken about being bullied in his music. So why was he pulled out for homeschooling? And my guess,
Perfect. Right when I gotta add two. I can put the game in my library. Perfect. Perfect timing. Perfect timing. There's so many games I want to play. Will I ever play all of them?
The best way to
Can
see
only
the
hope.
USA starts in a Chevy
only hope I'll play
with
all of them.
SUVs for every kind of adventure.
Shut up, boy.
my
only
complete
hope I'll
opinion
play all of
here
them.
is that his mom saw behavior that she saw him going down a path that she did not want him to go down. And we don't know what that is. We don't know if he was causing harm to other students. We don't know any of that. But there is something here that we're not getting, which is why did you get homeschooled? Why did they pull you out of regular school? But also it goes to show his mentality. And
You know what? That makes sense, though. If she was seeing signs of him doing things he shouldn't be doing, and then that's why she didn't like the song and didn't want him to drop it, that would make more sense. I feel like that would make a lot more sense than what I said before. So actually, I could see that being a possibility. Thinking about it like that.
potential stunted growth. Because
Okay.
this, Kim, I need to make this disclaimer. This is not a justification for what he did, but you see, he's talking about middle school. Oh, yeah, you know, middle school, end of middle school, into high school. I don't have these experiences. All these people are having these relationships, so I make up these songs about heartbreak, like romantic homicide, and it's just, you know, it's all fake about situations that I don't have because I don't have a girlfriend and I'm not meeting people and I'm just lonely here at home all the time. And then when you think about it, well, who was in middle school the entire duration of their, quote, relationship? Celeste. He met Celeste when she was 11, and then she died before she turned 14. So they took him out of homeschool before he turned 14 because that's usually when kids go into freshman year of high school.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, he took her off this planet before she could even see high school for herself, which is just another probably dark, unintentional theme with this guy. But mentally, this guy thought he was still in middle school. He hadn't matured through high school because high school, a lot of different experiences happen to you. I'm not saying you grow up in high school, but even a sophomore year high schooler is very different mentally to what they were in 6th, 7th, and got even 8th grade. But he was just after her in middle school. And a lot of the time in high school, you just think middle schoolers are just kids, even though they may be, like if you're in 9th grade, you think 8th graders might as well be toddlers. But he didn't think that. And he was playing the game with this person from January of 2022, which just goes to show that this had an effect on him. Homeschooling had an effect on him, but I don't think that it was what made him who he was, because his mom also didn't want him to be a rapper, because this is a TikTok from very early on in David's career. This TikTok was actually posted on May 26, 2022.
Did he just do a
Officially
fucking flip?
Posted on May.
He's a bad person, but that shit's crazy. If that's him doing that flip, that shit's crazy.
May 26, 2022. So this is months. This is 4 months after he first met Celeste online and became friends. And it's playing in the background right now because it has one of his songs. 42 Visits is the song. or it's like Fly Away. That's the sound that they used. And you can see his mom didn't want him to be a rapper. And so he became an artist instead. And you can see the mom, she probably didn't want him to be a rapper because of what she associated with a mainstream rapper. Whether that was violence, drugs, the image of rappers that is
violence, drugs, money, sex.
Right? Think about it. At that time, well, who was popping? Like 2020, you had King Von, you had a Young Boy, you had a bunch of killers. But also another weird thing, because he said he played Romantic Homicide for his mom and she didn't like it. Well, there was this TikTok that was posted in 2023, and this was posted towards the end of 2023. The Romantic Homicide is playing in the background of this, and he says, I got whooped for this, but I don't care, 3 more days. And I don't know if this was an official release onto streaming services or something like that, because Romantic Homicide had been out, but a fan would ask, why do you need permission? And David would say, she's my label, my manager, my agent, and my PR, bro. Now, I don't know if this was just him making jokes about the situation, but it is something to be considered. And also, another comment about him not wanting...
But that does happen, though. Because ain't like Waka Flocka's mom or aunt, wasn't she also his manager? Right? That should be happening. People's family members do be their managers and shit. That should
be a rapper because of his mom. In that old TikTok, someone commented and said, wait, I did not know you go to my church. And this was in January 15, 2023. So this person was replying so early on in David's career, they're not just going to randomly lie and say he went to their church. So David, his mom, did not want him to be a rapper. She took him out to be homeschooled. She did not like the song Romantic Homicide. He talked about, everything that his mom didn't like meant that it was cool. So it was probably something edgy and something that, she wasn't a, quote, hip mom. And she was taking him to church. So it's clear that all of these things together doesn't add up with the description we got of David. One of the most important details of the paperwork that we got is them saying that David brought Celeste around his parents when he went to Houston.
I know I'm not the only one who has panicked and realized a full essay is due the day it's
his
due.
Parents met the little
because
girl.
In the paperwork, it would say that after he was approached by law enforcement, and child services, that is, and they let him know that she was 13 years old, she was a missing person, David continued to pursue her. And then it says, throughout 2024, the victim spent a significant amount of time with David, including summer weekends at his home in the Hollywood Hills and traveling with him to Las Vegas, London, and Texas to meet his family.
Ew.
Now, we don't know what evidence is here of the family meeting him, but I thought this was very important detail because he was from Texas, but he had just taken her to London and he was recording in London. We talked about that in a separate video. So he was out there recording in London. I'm guessing he didn't just show up to his parents' house and say, hey guys, this is my girlfriend. I don't think that happened. I think if she met them at all, it might have been backstage at some show. I don't think David would have wanted to be home with, especially after becoming a star, because he felt uncomfortable at home to begin with. That's why he moved out. And then the music and everything that he was releasing and his lifestyle just continued to, think about it. The guy was doing drugs and stuff at this point because they've said that there's text between them talking about drugs and she was potentially on drugs during their time together. So he was most likely staying at a hotel, not at his parents' place. And I just want to know more details about this in particular from the prosecution because we need to know, because David's brother says all PDFs, should die and all that. His parents have remained quiet, which I do think they should remain quiet.
His brother said give him
the outcome of this case.
The life
do not
penalty,
need to
bro.
be saying anything.
The death penalty.
Yeah, I just think a lot of people are railing on the parents, but it seems like from the evidence that we've gathered so far.
But come on, all right. If you're a parent and your son does something like this, bro, that's a lot of emotion to go through, bro. Like you can't even imagine being a parent with a son or even a daughter that's doing some shit like this. Like you would have to take some time to really understand what the fuck you're hearing that your child did. You know what I mean? Like, that's not something you just take to the chest and then you go to the social media and just start talking about it. Unless you're just trying to get some, like, numbers off it. But that's something, like, it hits you and you're like, damn, my kid did that? Oh, you know what to say? Like, what do you even say? Like, yeah, give him the death penalty. Like, damn. It's hard when it's your kid, bro.
At least publicly, his mom was not.
I don't have a kid, but I'm just saying. I could imagine it being hard
to begin with. So to think that a church-going woman that's on the straight path, that we don't know why. That's the one thing we don't know. Pulled him out of middle school or pulled him out to be homeschooled. She's not gonna just be like, "Oh, hi, son. You're rich now, and you're quote dating this child that you're bringing into my home, and that's all good." I don't think that would have happened. And I think he knew his mom well enough to know not to bring Celeste around her or to not declare her to be his girlfriend. Regardless, I don't even think that David, just looking at this relationship with his mom, I don't even think that he would have told her that he had a girlfriend or talked about relationships or anything to do with the opposite sex with her at all, from how he had been raised. But let me know what y'all think in the comments.
I mean, it makes sense. I didn't know what to expect with this video, but hold on, let me see.
That interview where he was talking about romantic homicide, he's reminiscing on it, and this was days after he had just killed Celeste. So that's just another addition to how...
Yeah, he's crazy. Me personally, give him the chair, pack him up, straight to the gulag.